Hi, class. Welcome to the Introduction to Psychology. My name is Dr. Courtney Morris, and I will be your instructor for the next 7 weeks for this online Bay Path University course in psychology. This course is a strong overview of many different sectors within the psychology field. We will be examining aspects of the field such as cognitive psychology, biological aspects of psychology and brain structure and function, and its influence on behavior. We will be looking at within cognitive psychology more learning and behavior aspects, developmental psychology, which is looking across the lifespan of one's life and theories that are aligned and help us better understand the development of psychology across the lifespan. We will be looking at social psychology and the influence of our communities and our relationships and our culture. We will also be taking a dive into better understanding mental health and physical health and the relationship between the two, our understanding of what's normal behavior and not, and types of mental health disorders, and general lenses or theoretical paradigms of how we better understand behavior and personality within the field of psychology. And lastly, what we'll be delving into right away in the first week, a little more in relation to research of the social sciences and psychology. How do we determine a good research study of the social sciences and psychology? What helps us know if it's generalizable, the data across many different types of participants? Do we know if the data is reliable and valid? How do we assess that and better understand what an original research study is and looks like? And why have some of these different types of research methods been so important and influential in our growth and understanding of the field of psychology, and differences between the past and now in our understanding of psychology, as well as how we research it and better understand it. So, a broad overview in a very short amount of time in this course. We will be having discussion posts due Wednesday night at midnight every week, and you will be responding to the prompts and to the instructions there by Wednesday night at midnight, and then you're asked to respond to some of your peers' original posts by Sunday night at midnight. Also, we have this really interesting adaptive learning platform that is embedded in this course, which is helping support your education and learning. And what I mean is, instead of a traditional textbook, you have an adaptive learning platform that will be giving you lots of information to be learning and reading and be quizzing you on throughout this course. And you can test out of certain sections of learning material if your baseline knowledge is already a little more advanced. But there are different important topics of information that you'll be learning through this really more engaging and interesting adaptive platform. And I can see how you're doing, how much time you've been able to put into that, how you're scoring on some of the quizzes along the way, and if you need any help in sort of soaking in that information and learning. And then every week there's really useful supplemental videos to help support that learning as well. But the knowledge path learning will be due every Wednesday night at midnight, and every Sunday night at midnight you're also going to have some complementary assignments that will be due. And this first week, you'll notice that you have 2 assignments due, whereas most other weeks, except for the last week, you'll only have 1 assignment due on Sunday night, in addition to the knowledge path learning and the discussion post. This is a very fast-paced course. It's important to try to stay on top of the assignments and material as best you can. We really need to be engaged by week 2 to be considered registered and enrolled. Otherwise, you will be forced dropped from the class. And there is information on the modules on the webpage learning about some important dates to keep in mind throughout the semester, as well as how to access more resources in regards to perhaps additional tutoring or things of that nature. There's a lot of information embedded in the modules here for you, so please take a look. and information on Knowledge Path learning if you're new to the Knowledge Path site and the adaptive learning site. A quick little more information about me, and then I'm going to go over the week's what's expected and covered most of the weeks in a brief overview, mostly highlighting this coming week. And every week I'll be posting another video to go in more depth of what's expected that coming week and trends I'm noticing, considerations to keep in mind with your learning throughout this course. So this is just the introductory week 1 video, and there will be many more to come. So first week, we are looking at research methods and different paradigms of psychology and a brief overview of what to expect throughout this course and how to integrate the learning in regards to research. And I think it's a great overview of also how to include appropriate research into your writing and learning, and hopefully you can apply that throughout the latter weeks in this course. We'll then be looking at biological psychology, brain function and structure, and our understanding of the science behind that. We'll be looking at different stages of development and developmental psychology. We'll be looking again at learning, cognition, and memory and aspects of that type of branch of psychology. Again, cultural, social, personality aspects of our understanding of social psychology and the social sciences and studies related to that. Different psychological disorders and the treatment of those. And then the final week will be really integrating a lot of this learning all together and getting your reactions and feedback as a whole. For week 1, again, to be a little more specific, with your discussion post, you're going to pick a myth to highlight and examine in more depth. For one of your assignments this week, you're going to select an original research study. And please choose an original research study, not a literature review study. There's a large difference. There are some really well-written research articles that are really a review of many original research studies, and that's not what we want for this assignment. I would looking for you to select in one original research study that has its own sample and size and participants. They can talk about how they recruited participants and their hypotheses for the study they're going to be doing. They'll talk about if it's quantitative, qualitative, or mixed methods research, other aspects of the methods and research analyses. So there's a lot more for you to basically review and describe because you've selected an original research study to go into more depths with, and you're going to describe that. And talk about the ethical considerations, if there are any biases in the study, and a little bit of your own reaction to what was learned from reviewing that study and that assignment. And then also for the second assignment that will be due on Sunday night at midnight, I want you to select an interesting, observable behavior in day-to-day life. So again, this is something observable. Someone who you witness observingly in an observed nature procrastinating a lot, or someone who has a lot of anxiety in social settings and it's observable. So some sort of observable behavior you might witness or experience out in public of yourself or someone else. And you're going to apply 2 of the distinct psychological perspectives or paradigms learned this week to that behavior to better dissect from that theoretical orientation, that way of thinking about the behavior and personality, what might be the origins to why that is taking shape based on that psychological perspective? Why might you be seeing that? And so you're applying the 2 different theories and comparing and contrasting them, and then talking about the reflection of the learning of that. You get to select the behavior and you get to select the 2 psychological perspectives from this week. Also, I am a couple quick things about me before I wrap up and how to get a hold of me and other general considerations for this course. Not only will I be posting a video every week, you can always access me very easily by my BayPath email, which is comorris@baypath.edu. I will respond to my best ability within 24 hours or less. I can also be made available for a video conference or call, or just a traditional telephone call as needed with any questions. But a lot of times, most often it's via email or in messaging, but I'm happy to be available if need be with questions. Um, and a little bit about me, I've been teaching for Bay Path for 10 years. I have a PhD from the University of Denver in counseling psychology. I am a practicing clinician. I've been working as a psychologist in VA settings for about 11 years at different VA hospitals. Um, and I love the population working with veterans, those who have served, um, and kind of grew up in a military family, and have some passion for the population, but also love the dynamic nature of working with a lot of different forms of trauma and mental health, with adults, all adults, veterans. But I am also happy to consult with folks on any questions you might have about research, learning, future career. Have a little experience also working in research and academia. I have a little research working in foster care systems as a social worker before I went for my PhD, but happy to consult at any point also for future development if anyone has. I look forward to getting to know you in part of your introductions and your discussion posts this week, and also throughout the next 7 weeks. Um, this is fast paced and a lot of general information related to psychology. We will not go into depth with everything, but hopefully it starts to pique your interest, help you get a nice taste of different aspects of the field, to later on then maybe get more specialized or into depth, or more courses and learning on what does of most strike your interest. Don't hesitate to reach out with any questions at all, and I look forward to working with you. Take care until my next video. Bye.